We should probably cheers or something like that.
Nah.
Something that that I regularly experience, because as you guys know, like we include managed services agreement with every one of our proposals these days because it is such a necessary part of the process. And I want to, like, a lot of times it's hard to put words to that in a proposal when you send it across to somebody on email, but what value does that bring for us to do a managed services agreement? I want to first hear from Kevin on that one.
Well, having grown up in IT and, close to 25 years ago, I was in help desk, and just realizing how much things have developed. I look at what our customers were back then, and no offense to any of our IT directors, because we've got a lot of savvy IT directors that we work with that know their systems inside and out and are still very technical. But if I were to describe the landscape of most technical management and first line managers, there aren't as many people that know what to do anymore. It used to be people could, spin up their own MX servers, do their own Exchange servers in their facility. They might manage it themselves. And then progressively over the years, and in large part because of technology continuing to get more complex, the adoption has been towards, I need someone to take care of this, curate this, manage it as a service. So what used to be in yesteryears like maintenance and support is now called managed services. And it's this idea that I need someone who's my number one, who knows how to handle everything. And I think part of that is largely
respond fast.
who can respond fast and knows the answer. And I think a lot of that is because of industry trends and just the difficulty and the daunting of trying to keep up with everything. And so for us, we explain to our customers that this is very much to your advantage, because with our managed services also comes our help desk, has the ability to do ticketing where you can, log a ticket and get a quick response, from us. 24/7, during daytime support, we're closing out ticket responses in fewer than 3 hours and change. And just this idea that we can dispatch people on site and that we will be proactive in doing the preventative care to come on site, it just makes sense, because going back to that picture of just how the industry has changed, not many of our customers, even our very largest customers, don't have someone on site, making sure all the trains run on time. So they don't have someone that's like checking the rooms proactively. And so with us doing that, we accomplish a couple of things. One is we make sure that those rooms stay up and that they're utilized, and then we can just drive more enablement is the term we use, by making sure that we're available to answer questions and help fill in those gaps when the end users aren't particularly sure, so they don't hesitate to use the rooms because something's maybe not working or they don't understand how it's working. So there are a lot of reasons why it makes a lot of sense, and I think that's why we see many of our customers, putting managed services on their rooms and adding more rooms as they continue to grow with us, because there's real value there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you also don't often see IT teams or IT directors adding things like firmware updates to their to-do list. Audio video devices get installed and then they get forgotten about as long as they perform. Which means that bug fixes, or sometimes more importantly, feature releases, don't happen for customers who don't have managed services that are constantly coming out for the preventative maintenance and for the updates and to provide more features. That's not something IT teams, like I said, have on their to-do list and that they're worried about.
Yeah, if you think about how many times we get an update on this, right? I mean, how many times does Apple push out an update to our phone, or Android push an update to our phone? And that same thing in today's day and age applies to our video conferencing systems. New feature sets, bug fixes, maybe security fixes to make sure that we're not vulnerable, right? And those are super important to keep on top of. So,
yeah, releases on traditional older audio video equipment would be like once a year, every other year.
Yeah.
I mean, now you're getting releases every month.
Yeah, maybe even
from most of these devices.
Yeah.
And someone has to keep up with all of that.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, it's interesting when customers ask me how long is this system going to last, my response to them is, how well are you maintaining it, right? Because if you just throw a system in and you just try to set it and forget it, it's not going to last for long. It's going to crash on you after a period of time. And the thing you got to remember is that a lot of times our products are interfacing with other products. Maybe your Sony TV or your LG TV got an update pushed out to it that somehow broke a connection point. And so those types of things are super valuable for us to be able to keep on top of, to keep your system functioning at its best capabilities. Maybe the standard for content share has changed, and we now have a new HDCP standard or a new HDMI standard that now has to be recognized by the device. Well, fortunately, with companies that we're dealing with, they are constantly doing updates to push out so that we are ahead of those, those issues.
Yeah, and sometimes it's as simple as an HDMI cable.
Yeah.
A customer who specifically likes the ability to plug their HDMI cable into their laptop. So that way it's super easy for them to, share content to their screen. They don't have to think through anything else. Well, if that's happening every day, constantly, and that cable's getting worn down, we would rather us find that out and us replace that cable before the boss finds that out and the boss doesn't have a working system.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's nothing worse than having your board meeting that's been scheduled for the past 60 days and you show up into the room the morning of and it doesn't work, right? And so what I find is that with the managed services agreement, we are able to resolve probably somewhere in the area of 95 to 98% of the problems remotely. The typical adage, the typical answer that most of the IT directors would give you would be, did you try to reboot it, right? And many times that is the solution. And so we are, knowledgeable on what devices need to be rebooted, what devices are actually going to take your system down. We've got everything set up so that we can manage that remotely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can often push firmware updates remotely. We can keep track of the status of things. It kind of depends on which devices are used, but that's an option. Those are things that we can do.
Well, we're done. All right, cool. Let's take a photo.